Hey guys, Tarke here, and there's another Lake of Kalandra update. So this morning, GGG dropped a post outlining some imminent changes happening to loot and some changes that will be happening tomorrow. Then a couple of hours later, a patch came out. I've now played that patch for several hours, and I've also made a series of tabs where I filled one up with a bunch of red map rewards, yellow map rewards, white map rewards, and then rewards I got from running a Lake of Kalandra from that small sample size. Again, small sample size of maps. I will also say a lot of the changes in here, they're kind of meaningless in terms of not that they don't do anything, but we don't know what they mean, because what does massively mean? What does significantly mean? What does 33% increase mean when we don't know the base value? And again, this is 33% after the significant nerfs. One thing I will say before I go into everything, show you my findings, tell you how I'm finding the patch. It is very obvious when there is like one central piece of napkin math doing the rounds, because everyone is parroting the same napkin math, which is fine, but I think it's better to just kind of play it, see how it feels to you, because everyone's experience is very different, everyone's expectations very different. The expectations of like a really casual softcore trade player versus like a super min-max six-man party player is going to be wildly different compared to someone like me who plays in SSF. So anyway, let's go through what they've done. I'll then talk about what I've found, show it to you, and then what I think are the next steps going forward. Right. We have massively increased the rarity bonus for items dropped by monsters with multiple Archnem mods. This is proportional to difficulty, so small improvement for 2, large for 3, huge for 4. I can confirm, having played it, it is noticeable. The problem is, though, this is a rarity, not a quantity bonus. So it's not like you're suddenly getting like way more loot. You're just getting a lot more rare items and a lot more unique items, which will matter to some players and not matter at all to others. We've massively increased the rarity of items dropped by map bosses. They now act like act bosses, dropping fewer, but many more rare and uniques. I can confirm, having playing it, it's noticeable. It's noticeable on single boss and very noticeable on multi-boss bosses, and this is probably a really good time to be farming multi-boss layouts. Again, very impactful for some people, like SSF players. Suddenly getting way more uniques feels awesome. Trade League player, especially like a min-maxy Trade League player, this won't really mean anything to you. You're going to be filtering everything that drops. We've globally increased the drop rate of unique items. Very noticeable. Very, very noticeable now to pre this patch. And I would say I think I'm even getting more uniques now than I did in 3.18 at this stage of Atlas progression and Atlas setup. Again, that is with my current setup, my current gear, everything. Not talking from the point of view of like a crazy min-max setup. We've globally increased the base drop rate of currency by 25%. I can say that having played with this, I do get a little bit more currency now than I did pre-patch, but I'm getting much less currency, I would say, than I did at this point last league. One of the big problems we have, which I mentioned earlier, is all of these changes are happening after all the loot nerfs. So it's not like a situation of we're like 33% more than we had last league. No. Our stuff got brought down. We don't know exactly how much, but it got brought down. And then from that value, it's gone up 33%, right? Very quick maths. Let's say you have £10 and I take £9 off you. And then I'm like, you can get 33%. You're not getting 33% of the 10. You're getting 33% of that £1 you have left. So you now have £1.33. Not great. We've reduced the cost of many harvest crafts, with many becoming twice as cheap. This is coming in tomorrow. So the harvest stuff, that's just like a clear, if they're saying we've reduced many of them by half, we've done a bunch of stuff there, well then that's just what it is. It still has the issue that a lot of the harvest crafts that people want aren't there anymore. You'll have more access to the harvest crafts that are there, but you're not going to have access to the stuff which it doesn't exist. We've significantly improved the amount of rewards from Lake of Kalandra. Very noticeable. I can confirm this is very noticeable. However, the League reflections, that stuff like Legion, Harby, so on and so forth, that hasn't gone through yet. So probably still don't run your Lakes of Kalandra, still keep saving them. I ran some today just to kind of get a feel for it, but you're still better off just holding on to it. But it is very noticeable. If you are going for like the higher tiers of the elemental ones, the ones with guaranteed chests, you're getting some pretty good stuff there. Again, this is a step in the right direction, but a big problem is the quality of loot that's dropping. Now let's kind of show you what I mean. So, I ran 5 Chiseled and Valed tier 13s, 5 tier 8s, 5 tier 5s, and then this is the loot from a Lake of Kalandra I got from running these maps. So again, quite a small sample size. We're talking 15 maps total of varying tiers and 1 Lake of Kalandra. Let's kind of go through it. So from the 5 white maps I ran, I got 4 uniques back. Most of these uniques came from Arch Nemesis modifiers. I don't think any of these came from bosses, if I remember correctly. I got 1 random corrupted 5-link from a Val side area, and some random jewelry. One thing that's also very important is I made a special loot filter that I called the Every filter, which showed the top 3 bases of everything. Like, we're talking every 2-handed weapon, every 1-handed weapon, for melee builds, caster builds, every kind of armor type, shield, whatever, and anything that I thought was decent, not like a good rare, we're talking like life, some resistances, or like some decent damage rolls, I stashed. You'll notice I didn't get like anything usable, and this is all from a like League Star SSF point of view. I kept some random jewels because you could, in theory, augur eagle these if you wanted to. We got some quality gems. I also picked up every single div card. We're not like hiding any trash div cards. Got a bunch of white maps in return, and I got 4 yellows. Cool. We got some Carrick stuff. We got some random stuff from side content. A whole bunch of armor scraps and blacksmith whetstones. This all just comes from a specific Arch-Nem mod. Bunch of essences, because I've got essence on my Atlas. I should probably also show you what my Atlas is like at this point. Again, I'm still progressing, early progression. We're talking like 70-ish completion. So I feel like this is quite reflective where a lot of players are at right now. The vast majority of players that aren't like full Grimbro, everything's unlocked, we've got Ubers on farm. So I think this is quite reflective for most people right now. I got 3 Chaos Orbs back. These alks all came from all the rares I vended. And then a mix of some gumball currency. Decent amount of alterations, again, coming from vendoring items. In the yellow maps, I got the most rewards in yellow maps. It's worth noting I did get 1 cartographer's box, which is where most of these maps came from, but I still got more maps in than I got more maps out than I put in at every stage. I got a whole bunch of uniques. A couple of interesting uniques from an SF point of view. Obliteration, very, very nice. Obscurantis, Black Sun Crest, the new Malachi's Helm, pretty decent. A lot of random trash though, and this is going to be a big problem for players, especially Trade League players. You're going to be getting a lot more uniques now, which is great, but most uniques aren't very good and don't have much value in a Trade League. This is really only improvement people who either don't play very much, play in private leagues, very small economies, stuff like Hardcore Trade, or SSF. I got some random white socket items from Arch-Nem mods, cool, use them in your weapon swap to level up gems, very nice. I then got an SRS Helm enchant from a ritual. This was the best rare I got from everything. Actually, like, this is a solid item. Spell suppress, life, resist, and I can craft movement speed. This is the kind of stuff that, yeah, I felt good this dropping, and it's on the best evasion base, a slink base. Cool. I then got a whatever Sadist Garb chest. Again, nothing fancy, but at League Start, you would use this on like a Trickster if you only had like a 4-link or something. Cool. Some whatever jewelry, life, some rolls, some resistances. Again, life, some resistances, some stats. Some quality gems, some random jewelry that, like, here we got some like life resistances, maybe some stuff you would augur eagle if they rolled well. Stack deck, some div cards, some white maps, 2 blighted maps back, whole bunch of yellows, and then some whatever gumball currency, essences surrounding essence on my Atlas. A divine orb, this drops from a 4-mod Arch Nemesis. Cool, very nice, especially with how much divines are worth if you're a Trade League player. 1 Chaos Orb, 9 alks, mostly coming from vendoring items, some whatever, and then we got some jewelers, some fuse, some alterations, and 3 Ickers. Let's get to the red maps. So, the big winner here for me was getting a Wasp Nest drop. Very nice. Again, most of my uniques did come from Arch Nemesis, but I did notice getting uniques dropping from running rares. When it came from running map bosses. Also worth noting, I purposely used like 5 different maps for each one with a mix of multi-boss and single boss. I will say Coral Runes feels really nice because it's got so many bosses there. I think that's why I got so many more uniques, because I ran a Coral Runes and that gave me like 3 uniques out of it. Yeah, mix of some nice stuff. The barracks, cool. Getting like a Kataba's Thirst and stuff is nice, but a lot of trash, a lot of stuff which is kind of like, eh. Maybe you'd use that at League Start if you needed a weapon, I suppose. I got a 5-link drop. 2 kind of whatever quivers, but you would use them in very early stages of gearing. Again, nothing fancy, but you would craft life on this and use this at League Start. And likewise, same sort of deal for the jewelry. I did get 3 quite nice fractured items, I will say, though. Max Res Shield on the wrong base. Decent locked in life, not the best base, but you would take that at least. If you need some movement speed boots, you would just like throw some essence here, guaranteed movement speed, got the guaranteed life, let's go. Okay, lightning res locked in, nothing fancy, but whatever. You're kind of seeing the problem here that while it's nice we're getting way more uniques, without having a reason to really be picking up rares, because most people will filter all rares out, without a mechanic like Sentinel and Recombobulators, just making mobs drop way more rares isn't really going to do it for a lot of players, especially since most players aren't going to be doing what I'm doing, spending multiple portals per map and running a filter which will pick up items for literally every single build, right? I got 2 jewels that you would maybe use, some random div cards. We've got 3 white maps, 3 rares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 reds back. Cool. So we made 3 red map profit from those 5 we ran. We've got some frags, whole bunch of scraps. You definitely don't run out of scraps with these new Archnet mods. Some essences, some random incubators and oils, an exalted orb. This also dropped from a this was a Arakali touched 4 mod rare. One thing which kind of sucked though is it had Arakali, Drought Bearer. I can't remember the other 2 mods, but Drought Bearer specifically turns all item drops to instead drop as flasks. So that could have potentially been like a really nice enemy. I spent a very, very long time fighting it. We're talking like minutes. It was longer and harder than anything else on the map by far. It did drop an Exalt, which was nice, especially in SSF, because Exalts still have some value in SSF for crafts. It did then drop 1 unique flask, the Rock Gut, and then it dropped like 12 random utilities. I'm kind of like, I kind of wish those were just items, but anyway. I got 6 Chaos Orbs back. We got 10 Alks, again, mostly from vendoring items. Some Gumball, some whatever. Didn't get as many Vals back as I put in, obviously, because these are all, again, fully chiseled, fully Valed. We got a little bit of Jewelers, a little bit of Fuse. We got some alterations, again, mostly from vendoring. So all in all, from a mapping point of view, I feel like there's still problems with just the quality of items that drop without a mechanic which makes us want to be picking up items. Then most people won't really be happy with this, but this is a very nice buff for more casual players, more SSF players. You'll be getting more uniques. Getting cooler uniques is exciting. Let's talk about the Calandra though, because I would say this has probably been the main winner. So this was from 1 lake. It was a okay lake. It had a good size on it. Didn't get any like super high rolls with like the highest tiers of rewards. Mostly lots of bronze and silvers. But you can see we did get some uniques. None of these uniques are great, but we did get some uniques from it. I got a decent early shield. I kept these because these are specific rare bases that can be hard to come by. I got a 23 quality efficacy. Everything else just got like a mix of like 16, 17 quals. 2 random jewels, double res damage mod, and then this could potentially be Regal craft worthy. Some stack decks, some div cards. Again, I'm picking up every single div card. And then a lot of maps. These maps came from having 2 strongbox tiles with guaranteed only Cartos and Operatives. And then they have a chance to be reopenable. And I got 2 Cartos reopen. So you can see I got a whole bunch of red maps, which feels very, very nice in early progression. A whole bunch of yellows, which would feel good if you're still like bouncing between that yellow to red map stage. We got some scarabs from the operatives. Not that much in terms of raw currency drops though. Keeping in mind the amount of time this took longer than running 2 red maps. And in terms of danger, this was by far the most dangerous thing I did all day. Had multiple deaths. So in a hardcore environment, I wouldn't have done it. And in a softcore environment, I basically lost all the progress I made in terms of experience from running those maps. So the difficulty to reward, they're going to be doing more improvements tomorrow. Cool. But slight problem. I also only got 1 reflection. I feel like I've been getting way less reflections since they've been changing them. And they said that they'd made reflections more common. So I don't know if there's something wrong there. I have also seen some people talk about them getting no reflections post-change. But I've been running lakes through like every stage of the game. Really, I would recommend people just hoard their lakes. And I was getting like 3 or 4 reflections on average per lake. I got 1. Okay. The thing I got out of it, actually kind of usable. Low rolled pretty poorly though, because the values, like just the tiers were low. So it was only a tier 4 life, and it was like a tier 3 all res. But you know, you could use this if you really needed int. If you're a build that's like stacks int, getting 110 int, 119 life, 27 all res with some strength, cool. You might not need the dex. For example, my ring, this is like a really nice ring that I got, has loads of life on it, better all res, and it really just shows the disparity in getting like the higher rolls because there's such a big multiplier. So we're talking 172 versus 119, very big. So I still feel like there are some improvements to be made. I will say though that the game is very much playable in its current state, and I do think that there is a bit of a problem right now where GGG have completely failed, like completely and utterly failed on their communication. I think their communication is horrific and there's no excusing it. And because of that, all of the numbers are coming from the player base, and it's really obvious that it feels like everyone is just like, we've all watched the same one YouTube video, we've all watched read the same Reddit thread, and we're all parroting the same thing, like anchoring. One guy talks about anchoring, and now everyone's like a psychologist, and everyone's like, oh, I know this marketing technique. Yes, this is the classical manipulation, and it's like, I'm not saying they're doing a good job. I think they've completely messed this league up. I think this is the worst handled league they've ever done. I'm also, my frustration with GG, it's an all-time highest. I've been providing a lot of feedback, both behind and in front of the scenes, and it feels like it's falling on deaf ears. I'm exceptionally frustrated right now. But also, it is kind of funny that everyone seems to be parroting the exact same thing. The game is kind of playable. If you're not having fun, don't play it. If you're not having fun, definitely don't play it. Don't buy any MTX. Don't be a metric. If you're not enjoying yourself, please, please, please play something else. If you are having fun though, awesome. Keep having fun. Hopefully they will continue to improve things. The game needs a lot more patches though. I still don't think loot is really in the best place right now. I also think the arch nemesis needs significantly more attention. We need to be looking at how specific problem modifiers brick certain builds and the way they stack together. With a immunity, if you're playing a chaos build and you suddenly roll into the wrong set of mods, that guy is going to ruin your day. Likewise, if you're an Ellie build and you're not an Inquisitor, you roll into the wrong set of mods. Like, the certain mod combinations could be the difference between you killing an enemy in 1 hit and you kill an enemy in 50 hits. And that's not an exaggeration. It's because everything is multiplicative in terms of defense. So if they're just like stacking max res on top of max res on top of all these resistances and you can't penetrate through it, that mob kind of owns that map. And it's not like you can just run past most of these enemies. Most of these enemies move significantly faster. And also, there's such a massive disparity in the base type of enemy that are getting these. If you get these on a rower, good luck. You get these on a rinky-dink skeleton, fight it for 12 minutes, who cares? Ugh, it needs a lot more attention, but the game is very playable. I probably wouldn't recommend running any more Lakes of Kalandras. Wait until the next set of patches. I probably wouldn't really recommend sinking loads of time if you're kind of like on the fence. I think this is a decent time to level up alts if you have other builds you want to be playing. Level them all up now because, you know, whatever. Otherwise, just focus on other things. The game is playable. If you're having fun, have fun. But it's just like, why waste your time? You'd be better off just playing in a week, which is very frustrating to say at League Start. And yeah, it sucks that just the apathy is at a point. And I think that's the thing as well, that even though the game is very much playable and a lot of people are having fun, even when you're having fun, you're playing it, and you're just kind of like, what? Like, why am I doing this now? Why am I not just waiting for the next set of changes? So it's just, it's frustrating. I'm very disappointed. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Bye-bye.